Hey folks, welcome back to part 2 of the Piscifun Chaos 40. Okay, part 1, we took this reel apart. I showed you some of the highlights, some things I liked about the reel, some things that were very special. But as you can see here, we've kind of got the chaos all over the place. So come on over here. Let's take a look at this. And I'll show you what we're going to do to put this back together and to make sure that it's ready. Now, like I stated in part 1, this reel will be used solely in fresh water. So what we're going to do is we're going to prepare this reel for fresh water. And what we're going to need to do this is, look at a little painter's brush there, little paintbrush, some pin reel grease. I like pin reel grease a lot. I prefer to use it. I also like Lucas Red and Tacky for those people who are looking for good reel grease. They're both excellent. I use them both a lot. I also really like this really light synthetic super lube grease. It's perfect for inside of worm gear for saltwater reels and so on and so forth. But today we're going to mostly just be using the pin reel grease. So before we get to the greasing part though, here's what we want to do. Let's pull that drive shaft off there. We're going to take our viscous oil here and put one drop right there on that bearing, okay? That bearing will be good to go. Just slide that back on. Move it all around there. Good. Work it in. That's it. Now what we're going to do is, well, this is a very special. I got some cow's drag grease here. This is good stuff. It's all I use. And what we'll do is we'll go ahead and put the main drive gear back on, which you can see is brass. Oops. Caught on there. There we go. Okay. And we'll use our paintbrush here to get some good. You want to make sure that this grease gets up in them teeth, okay? You don't want to just put it on there. You want it inside the teeth, not on the outside of the teeth, all right? And that's all you've got to do there, and we'll get it all done. Okay. So that main gear now is greased real good. As you can see that grease is worked in real good to those teeth. That's what you want to do, is work it in real good with those teeth. Okay. Now we're going to take some of this grease here and make sure that we get nice and good up in that clutch assembly, right up in there. There you go. And it goes both sides. Okay. You want to get up all right up in there. All right. Okay. All right. All right. That pretty much takes care of what we need there. Now what we're going to do is we're going to start putting our drag washers back in place. But before we do that, we're going to take a little bit of cow's drag grease, just a little bit, see? And just between your thumb and forefinger, there you go, just work it into that a little bit. There you go. Slide it right on there. Okay? And here, you don't need very much. Sometimes a little bit goes a long way. Just a little bit. Okay. We're going to rebuild the drag stack here. This is the dog-eared washer. Make sure you put it back properly so the ears fit into the little notches there. Always, there we go. There's some sticky grease, okay? Just you can't even see. There you go. Okay. And the last washer, drag washer, goes on top. And now we have lubed and rebuilt our drag stack. Now we put the little washer in. This is just a spacer washer. And we put There we go. That goes just like that. This is what it should look like right here, okay? All right. Let's grab our little trusty paintbrush. We're going to paint these threads real good here on the side. Remember now, we're doing this for fresh water. If this were salt water, the grease would be quite a bit more, okay? And the paintbrush really works good because it puts the grease where I want it, inside the grooves. Alright, so let's put the drag grease away. We don't need that right now. Cal's drag grease, great stuff, okay? Something to wipe your hands off here. Okay, what we do now is we're going to take our plate. This is our gear cover plate. You want to make sure you got it aligned properly, okay? And it just sits right on top of there just like that. Let's see, good. There we go. Okay. Okay. And it's on proper. Remember those two screws? What we do is we take our little paintbrush and stick it right down inside there with a little bit of grease so those threads are carefully covered. And we can put the screws right in there. All right. There we go. So at this point, what we're going to do is we're going to take our oil here and, well, put one drop right here. Okay? That's all you need. Just one drop. One drop is all you need. We'll put our cap back on. You want to make sure that that cap has some grease in it, so we're going to put some grease up in there. Right up in there. And we're going to make sure the cap threads are greased well. Doesn't take much. And the paintbrush is perfect. Alright. Should hear it. There we go. Okay. It's on. Alright. Alright. So make sure that you lube. You get some grease here, right on these threads, on your posts. Because water does get up inside those posts. And grease is what you want to use because it helps prevent corrosion and helps prevent the water getting up in there. Now, you want to make sure that you get nice, good amount of grease right here on the thumb clutch pin. And you go ahead and get it right up in there too. Won't hurt a thing. Okay. And while you're at it, you see we got our little brass gear over here for the worm gear. Go ahead and get it real good. Work it right in those teeth, just like before. Okay. So before I put these pieces together, what we want to do now is there's your brake drum for the centrifugal brake. So what we're going to do here is we're just going to take a little oil, one drop on a Q-tip. That's all you need, just one single drop. Okay. We've already cleaned this brake drum in part 1. I'm just going to take it and run it around on the inside of there, okay? That's all you need to do, right there. That's it. Clean it some more. Now you remember I showed you there was a bearing in there. You can see it right there if you look close. We'll take a little oil, one drop, right there in that bearing. By golly, I think now we are ready to put the two pieces together. You take your right side plate, line it up so everything fits right. There we go. It should look snug. There should not be any gaps here. Should feel snug. These little knurled screws go in. Just that's all you need right there to hold them in. We already greased the posts, the stainless steel posts on the other side. So at this point we just need a screwdriver. There we go. We tighten these down. Okay. They're tight. Everything looks good. Everything spins properly. No binding. At this point, we're going to rebuild our handle assembly. Okay. Alright. We're going to rebuild our handle assembly, but we want to make sure that we have enough pin reel grease to make sure that we've got this entire post and all the threads covered. And this really helps seal out water, which prevents corrosion. Okay. You remember the washers we talked about? These are your drag spring washers. Make sure that they are opposing and are not lying evenly. And we slip them right back on. We take our spacer, just a simple washer. It goes on. The second spacer goes on. Okay. Star drag, we've got threads in this, so real quick we're going to make sure that those threads are well protected and well greased. Okay, good. It gets screwed right on there. Got to make sure it goes on nice and even. Don't cross thread it. Should be nice and smooth. Now if you have a short pair of pliers, here we go. You can, right here, see? Just when there's flat edges there, there's edge here, does not have any threads. Just place your pliers on there carefully. And you can take it, now you can tighten your star drag down a little bit more, like that. Alright, at this point, we put our handle spacer washer there. Okay, so what we do, you remember this little C-clamp? Alright, before we can put this guy on, you got to make sure you put the handle on. Handle just sits on there like that. And at this point, we have our little C-clamp. Just sits on there like that. And you've got to pop it on. But again, I caution you, make sure you keep your finger down over this and come at it from a good angle. Because if it pops off and disappears, chances are you're never going to find it. Okay, our C-clamp is on. Handle is secure. At this point, we're going to take our cap and we're going to make sure that we get lots of good grease up in there. As good as we can get it up in there to try to get it in the threads. Cap goes on. Okay. Okay. Okay, well, we got the handle cap on. There's a little screw here. Goes in right there. And we can put that in. We'll just use this one. That holds that cap on there. That's not going to go anywhere, okay? All right. At this point, we take our spool. Remember, these are our brakes here. We've already lubed inside there. But what I like to do, again, remember, this is where we had the oil. They're still on there. So what we'll do is we'll just clean this now. Oil the end of these brakes a little bit. Okay. Take our grease. Grease here, just real light around the edges of your spool on both sides. Just real light, real light. Okay, real light. Take our oil, put one drop on the end of your spool shaft. There you go. That slides right in there and goes inside the pinion gear. Boom. Okay, that's all it does. All right. We need some oil in here. Let's take care of this bearing that sits right in there. And we want to make sure that we get some good grease in here. So I like to use grease with a little color so I can see where it is. I can see how thick it's on there. Like I said, the Lucas Red and Tacky is easy to see. I like using it. Pen is blue, as you can tell here. Again, remember we're doing this big old reel here for freshwater catfish. So we're going easy on the grease. We want to make sure we get it working in those teeth real good. Okay, there we go. There you go. All right, and we'll get it up here. Okay. All right. Get it all up in here. Get that spring. Okay. At this point, we are ready to put on the left side plate, okay? All right, so what we're going to do here is we're going to take our left side plate. You want to make sure that you align it with the pins. There you go. There we go. Should snap right in there. Again, no gaps. Should feel natural. Take our grease and make sure you grease these threads here on your left side spool tension. There you go. All right, we're good. Cap goes on. Okay. And now we've got these little screws. And so what we're going to do is we're just going to take some grease and stick it down in the holes. And that way I don't have to try to hold on to those little tiny screws while I'm trying to get enough grease on them. We'll just fill the whole darn hole there full of grease, okay? And then the screws go in. Okay. We'll grab our rag here and wipe down any excess grease that's managed to come out on the edges or sides. Should be clean. All right. Okay, there you go. This is how you lube the Piscifun Chaos 40. I've taken apart and reviewed now 3, I believe, Piscifun reels. I have to tell you, I've not found a bad reel. I've not have found anything to complain about. The Phantom was absolutely fantastic, was a huge surprise. I really enjoyed taking a part in using the Piscifun Perseus. And now I got my hands on this Chaos, and I tell you what, it's fantastic. It is everything that I had hoped it would be, and I don't think you'll be disappointed. So thank you for joining me here in my workshop in Las Vegas. Thank you.